Hello guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, as you can probably tell already, is not a Cold War one. Vanguard is on the horizon. It's less than a week now till it drops. I'm super buzzed. Hope you guys are as well, because there has been a huge update, a bunch of patch notes detailing specifically what they've done from the beta to the launch of the game. So if you guys played the beta and you weren't completely happy with it, stick around because I've got all the details packed into this video. Because you might end up thinking, you know what, this looks like it's going to improve. And for the guys who are still on edge, even at launch, I'm going to be posting consistent Vanguard gameplay. So you can give that a watch and check out, you know, whether you want to download it and play it even after that. The gameplay I've got in the background is a pretty nice one. It's on Eagle's Nest and I'm using the Tommy gun. I go 54 and 15, something like that. This is a fairly good gameplay, and I think depending on how long the video is going to be, I'll put one on after that. So it's just going to be a bit of beta gameplay from Vanguard. Kicking it off with the patch notes, and one of my favourite things, which I actually didn't think they were going to do, can't thank Sledgehammer enough for this, but they have added Ninja. They've added Ninja as a perk, because they originally in the beta they had Dead Silence, similar to what Modern Warfare 2019 had, and that's just not great. You don't really need that. And to be fair, there were a lot of complaints over the footstep audio anyway. So if they were going to increase their footstep audio, which they actually have, they've done the right thing and added a Ninja perk. So when you're playing those competitive games, when they bring out a league play eventually, which I think they said they're doing December, January this year, probably when Season 2 drops, around the same sort of time the COD competitive league actually starts, you're going to be able to run Ninja to make sure you're heard. You're not heard by people with good headsets. So that's absolutely huge. You can't explain how excited I am about that, as well as the fact that they're giving players a faster and smoother gameplay experience at launch, including a lot of reduced like weapon swap, sprint to fire times, aim down sight times, and there's going to be a bunch of movement perks as well to help people who do like to rush and fly about the map to be able to do so as they do wish and please. As I said, they're increasing the footstep audio as well. And if you guys, I don't know whether you guys played the beta, but if you did, the announcer in the background is absolutely horrible to listen to. He was talking all the time and you actually couldn't hear what was going on. It really brought you up the gameplay. So they've actually said they're reducing the announcer frequency, which is an absolute, huge thing as well. Obviously, if you guys played it on Xbox, I don't know how many guys that actually follow me play it on Xbox, but the Xbox beta was atrocious. There were so many bugs, but they said they've ironed all that out as well, so hopefully that's not going to be a thing when the game drops. Now this is going to be more, the next couple of bits are going to be more visibility, because there were some really visual bits which I wasn't a fan of. So they've done things such as remove the smoke when you shot, and the muzzle flash and stuff like that. They've removed, if you guys saw, maybe watching some gameplay, but there was I can't remember the name of the map, but there was one map where the sun was super bright, and looking anywhere in that direction would just cause a huge lens flare across the whole of the screen. So that's gone. As they, in their words, they've put, we've nerfed the sun, so I do like that. And overall, they've just made it a little bit easier to be able to see what's happening in the game. For example, another thing they've done is reduce the amount of water that appears on your screen when it's raining and things like that. With regards to audio, they've increased the general footstep audio, so that's audible if you don't run Ninja or Dead Silence. However, footsteps are going to be silent when the player is ADS, crouched, or has a certain perk, as I said, Ninja or Dead Silence, which is going to be quite cool, because even if you don't want to run Ninja, if there's another powerful perk you want to have in that slot, you can still be silent as if you ADS or crouch walk. So yeah, you're going to be able to control how you are heard throughout the map, which is lovely. There's also operator clips which are becoming less frequent. As I said, the general sound of the announcer guy is not coming in as much. They've fixed the spawns quite a lot, apparently because, well, Patrol was the new game mode they introduced in the beta, and it was essentially like a constantly moving hardpoint around the map. The spawns on that were proper wacky, understandably, due to the fact that this is a completely new game mode. So they've polished those spawns a bit, so hopefully you guys will run into far less annoying spawn traps when you are playing Patrol. And as they said in the patch notes, they're going to be constantly, continuously refining the spawn logic over time to improve spawns in matches with higher player counts for you guys who played Blitz and Assault. Grenades and incendiaries no longer slow movement speed of players. and there's been a reduction with the cap of suppression effects. So if you guys didn't know, if you got shot with a certain gun or you got hit by a nade, you'd slow down and it goes super sluggish for a while, which is great in a campaign because it makes it feel a bit more realistic. But I think in an arcadey shooter like Call of Duty, it has no place whatsoever. So I'm super pumped that that's been removed because that was really, really annoying. They've increased the time of gammon bombs and other throwables to, well, decrease the time. They've made it quicker for you to throw it, essentially. As I said before, sprint out times have been sped up, rebalanced. There's also a new perk which has been introduced, which is called Dauntless, and this is basically a perk that wasn't in the beta, but it makes players completely immune to movement reducing effects. Now, there were a few attachments on the guns when we played the beta that could, you know, give you that perk as well, but it's interesting that there's going to be a complete perk, so your whole class, no matter what gun you're using, you're going to be able to be, you know, immune to all sort of movement suppression, things like that. There's done a couple of weapon tuning bits as well. So I know shotguns in every other COD have been annoying to play against. They're never in the competitive scene whatsoever. But the shotguns in the beta are the worst guns I've ever used ever. Not quite, but they're down there. They're down there. So they've made them a bit more lethal. But they've also made the range a bit shorter. So they're really, well, according to the patch notes, they really are going to be used for what a shotgun should be used. Those close range engagements. It should be the standout gun, logically. If you walk into a room in real life and you've got, I know this is an arcade shooter, but if you walk into a room in real life, the guy's got an SMG, you've got a shotgun. Logically, the guy with the shotgun is standard chance. So I'm thinking that's where they're going to be going. They've reduced the range of the SMGs and pistols as well, again, to make it a bit more balanced, because the MP40 could absolutely beam at range. It was a ridiculous gun, as well as the Tommy gun, in fact. Yeah, so that's that. This hipfire spread has been adjusted on most guns, just to make it more consistent across certain weapon categories. So, for example, the SMGs will all have a relatively similar hipfire spread, and the assault rifles have a relatively similar hipfire spread, and so on and so forth. The type of barrels, magazines, and ammo types, there are more trade-offs to them. So originally in the beta, there were really no reason why you shouldn't be using like incendiary rounds or FMJ rounds, something like that. So they've added negatives to those attachments, so it's not, you know, they're not going to be used quite as much as they probably were. They've fixed up the weapon progression and detailed stats of each gun as well, because there was a few, you know, bits and bobs that weren't quite great on it. And they've also changed the way smokes work. So in Vanguard, what they've changed is that you're fully hidden from distant enemies. So if you throw a smoke and just to get across the line of sight, you're going to be completely hidden from an enemy with using an AR or a sniper. However, as the enemy draws closer to the smoke that you're in, they'll be able to see you a bit more clearly, which makes sense. So it's essentially a way for you to be able to minimize the space between you and your enemy for, you know, controlling the close range engagements for you guys who are playing with an SMG or a shotgun. There's also a couple of adjustments they've done because of killstreaks and field upgrades. So friendly spy planes and friendly counter spy planes will no longer appear overhead. So in the beta, if you looked up at the sky and saw a spy plane, you had no idea whether that was an enemy one or your one, which meant shooting it down was quite hard, because if it was on your one, you just have no hit reg, and you'd be thinking you wouldn't know whether you were missing or whether it was in fact an enemy UAV. There's also when an enemy UAV or counter spy plane is up, they're easier to hit. The counter spy planes are up for a less duration, which for me is absolutely huge, because the way in the kill streaks work in Vanguard is that you can only have one counter UAV up at a time, which essentially means that if half the team you're in have a counter UAV, or counter spy plane, whatever they're calling it in this one, they're going to have a counter spy plane up for a lot of the time. And the fact that they've reduced the duration of that is an absolute huge thing. They've also reduced the health on the spy planes, counter spy planes, and most of the field upgrades that they've placed on the ground, like trophy systems, motion sensors, things like that. Glide bombs easy to control. I don't know, for you guys who have been playing on PC, apparently there was a bit of a bug with regards to how to control the glide bomb on a PC. It wasn't very good, so that's been adjusted. And the bugs resulting in graphical corruption of the attack dogs have also been fixed. So before, there used to be a bit of a weird visual glitch where dogs used to look like tornadoes you know, zooming around the map, but that's no more. They've fixed that, unfortunately, which means there will be no more Dognados, as Sledgehammer have put it. Perks. There was a perk called Low Profile, which gave you a bit more of a stealthy option. However, that's been completely removed and replaced with Ninja, which obviously is essentially completely silent footsteps. There's been a couple of FAQs for you guys who are interested in, you know, are asking the important questions. There are going to be free maps coming up for launch. There is going to be shipment dropping soon after launch. I think it's coming on the 17th of November. You guys probably know Shipment. It's one of the first OG 1v1 me bro sort of maps. Super small, super condensed. And they have said they're even going to be using the bigger Blitz and Assault on this map. So it's going to be absolutely chaos. So you guys who love 12v12 Nuketown or 24/7 Nuketown, this is going to be the map for you to enjoy when Vanguard launched and the map launches on the 17th of November. There will be an FOV slider for consoles. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. They did say this was going to be done, but that is absolutely confirmed now. There will be an FOV slider on consoles, and hopefully this means that Warzone, the guys who play console Warzone, will actually be able to change their FOV on Warzone as well, because that's the biggest annoyance, going from Cold War this year to Warzone, having 100 FOV going down to 70 or 80, whatever default is on Warzone. It makes it super hard to play. So hopefully, with the increase of FOV on Sledgehammer on Vanguard, hopefully they integrate an FOV slider into Warzone as well. We can only hope. We can only hope. You're able to pre-download the game now if you guys haven't already, which essentially means that between now and then, obviously, between now and the 5th of November, you obviously can't play it, but it means that the game is there ready for you to download, so that when the midnight strikes and it's suddenly the 5th of November, you're able to play straight away, get on that grind, find those, you know, geek spots, so on and so forth. There's also going to be, obviously, you guys have probably heard this already, there's going to be a new anti-cheat. To be fair, it hasn't been so prevalent with me in multiplayer, but I know it's huge in Warzone, and there's a whole new anti-cheat coming with Vanguard called Ricochet. So hopefully this, you know, stops a lot of the hackers out there. Although reports are that hackers have already managed to get their way around it, but who knows? Hopefully Ricochet does something at least. That would be rather nice. Other than that, that's going to be all. I hope I've covered everything. There are a load of maps which look pretty nice as well, which I might include in a different video. But I mean, there's no gameplay, but there's just been featured maps. Maps coming back include Dome from World at War, as well as Castle from World at War. I mean, I've played COD since... I played a little bit of COD 3, but the first online COD I played was Modern Warfare, COD 4, which has been out for absolutely years now. So I managed to play World at War, I managed to play Dome and Castle, and I can say Castle is one of my favourite maps of all time. It'll be interesting to see how they integrate it into the new engine. So yeah. What I want to know from you guys is your thoughts on these details. Is there anything you're specifically still waiting for from the devs that you'd like to see improved? And are there any, any maps you'd like to see coming back? Let me know in the comments. Are you excited for Vanguard as well? Hopefully, I know I've got a couple of you guys added on my Activision. We could hopefully grind out some of the guns off launch. So that's going to be me. Hope you enjoyed the video and the gameplay, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao for now.
Lost! Fight back! Patrol zones